right, guys. One thing I wanted to ask you is, what was the decision that prompted you guys to finally get back together and do material for a new record?
To me, it felt like it was unfinished business, you know, and I didn't want it to, the legacy of Black Sabbath to end.
It was one of those things that you kind of deep down you all knew has to be done.
I think we all wanted to do it, you know. It was just a matter of time, of being able to come to the right time to be able to do it. We tried about 10 or 11 years ago or something to write some stuff, and it never quite happened.
The amazing thing too is I've seen the Australian footage, and the album was not out when you guys did those shows.
No.
And the reaction to the new material was amazing. Do you notice that when you're on, how people are reacting to the unheard material?
We were worried about that at first, even just playing new material, because of course with the internet and YouTube and all that, it'd be all over the place with the new songs. But but the reaction was good, yeah. Especially with them not hearing it, not knowing it.
Does this feel more satisfying than, say, Reunion did? Because with Reunion, it was all these classic songs, but now you really are coming out for the first time in all these years, and it's relevant and it feels heavy.
It's been great fun. It's really enjoying it now. It's once we got rolling, you know.
When you do new songs, you don't know how the audience is going to react. But as you just said about Australia, the album was not even released, and some of the tracks I already knew, you know. I think the single was released, wasn't it?
I don't even know if God Is Dead was out at that point. It might have been, but I know Loner wasn't out, or any of these other ones.
Oh, no, God Is Dead was being played on the radio.
Oh, it was?
Just as like a forward thing for the tour. And people picked up on it. They were singing along to it when we were doing the song.
Is there a doubt that you have? I mean, you guys have all worked for so many years, even after Sabbath, but is there like a moment when you get together and you're like, will this still work? Will people still respond to it?
Every night I go on stage, I want to go. We've been doing this for 45 years. I'm like, 45 years? And when I was a kid, if my dad had said to me, come and see this artist I want you to see, and just the fact that my dad liked it, I wouldn't have liked it, you know.
But I don't, you know, it's funny, like you said, my father, if my dad had come to me and said, hey, my father loves Bob Seger, and because of that, I never listened to Bob Seger, because you want to have your own thing, but there's something about your music that it's okay for the dad to like it. It just, instead of making the music sound old, it makes your dad seem cool when your father likes Black Sabbath. That's another thing I wanted to ask you about, is the amazing age differential in your audience.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, he keeps shouting out at night, jump, jump, jump. But some of them guys are like 70 odd.
Those that can do.
It's all the young ones doing it. You can pick out the older ones.
Yeah, and the other one's just kind of doing like a shoulder movement.
The guy that's right in the front, he sat down, he couldn't move. Till he got a bucket of water over him, and then it moved a bit.
Everybody stand on your feet, and one guy goes, we are.
And yeah, it's funny that people, like you said, when I saw you guys last was in New Jersey, and we came with a friend and his 14-year-old nephew, and he'd never seen you guys live. And he was as blown away as most 14-year-olds you'd think would be watching One Direction or any of these quote-unquote new bands. So the fact that you've remained relevant for 45 years, it's almost unequaled.
It's incredible. And as you say, there's new kids coming all the time. It's amazing to see them. I mean, you know, looking last night, there's young kids on the dad's shoulders, you know.
Wives on the kids' shoulders.
I mean, it's amazing.
Wives on the kids' shoulders. It's like a whole family pyramid stacked up. I noticed, it's funny, Tony, I'll watch you on stage sometimes, and you just always seem so happy to be there, because you'll be looking down, and then you'll just look up and smile, and then kind of look back down. It's like it never seems to get old.
I am happy to be there. It's great. I'm really enjoying it, and it's great that so many people are coming out to see us as well, and to be playing with the guys again. You know, I think you couldn't get better than that.
Well, you know, a lot of the summer festivals have been having a hard time, and you guys are, which I think is due to your tour. I think is just destroying everybody else's summer, because bands are doing, you know, 1,500 seats out of 10,000, 12,000 people, and you guys are doing huge numbers. So I guess the album coming out as highly ranked on the charts as it did is helpful.
Yeah.
But that had to be a complete shock. I mean, I know you guys weren't ready for that.
I mean, number one in America was always one of my goals. But it's obviously number one in so many countries. It's mind-blowing. In Japan, it went to number 5 first week, and I thought that's reasonably good. And the following week, it went to number 1, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's been incredible.
Oh, it actually jumped from 5 to 1.
Yeah. I was like, wow.
Could you feel momentum building with this record?
In actual fact, we were so busy writing it for so long, you know. You don't understand what, by the time we finished an album, we've been playing it for like a year or so, you know. So it's like, we wanted to get it done and get out there. You never go into the studio and go, oh, I'm going to make a bad record, or I've had a good run, it's time for a bad record. You want everyone to beat the last one, and this one beat every record I've ever.
And we were getting feedback from, you know, other people that's heard it. Rick Rubin played it to some people, and he'd say, oh yeah, they love it, and these are other musicians, and it was just starting building from that, you know, and the word of mouth.
I've had waitresses come up to me in comedy clubs, and they're you know, they know I'm a Sabbath freak, and they're like, the new record is great. Like people that never had listened to Black, there's something about this record that maybe it was just the advertising that finally got people to listen who wouldn't have listened before.
I think so. Yeah.
But the response has been from so many different genres of people. You're hitting way more than Sabbath fans, and are you kind of sensing that? Have you felt that?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I mean, we've always been, you know, kept underground for many years, and then sort of now, I mean, it's really been brought to the foreground, and the attention's been sort of thrown at it big time, you know.
What was the promotion like for you on this one compared to the last one you did together? Because back in the older days, it was so much different.
Our first album was just word of mouth. I remember I've been in a club, and the manager at the time said to us, your album goes in the charts as number 17 or something next week. And I'm like, what? You know, just to take a record up to your folks and go, look, I made a record, that was a big deal for me.
Once you know you're number one, do you start checking everything and every day?
No, I've no idea what it was the next week. I was just happy to get number one.
You didn't get great.
It doesn't get any better than that, does
After
it?
that,
So
that's
like,
it.
Yeah, you don't want to start looking because eventually
Yeah,
everything.
would have gone straight out.
Yeah, who wants to look and go, oh, good, number two now? It's like you want to just be,
Yeah.
What has the tour schedule been like for you guys? It seems like it's a pretty rigorous schedule.
No, it's not been that bad. It's been like one day on, show day off, show day off, show day off.
Is that easier for you to do like one day on, one day off?
It's not easy, it's just necessary.
I think you get into a role as well, you know. When you have 4 or 5 days break in between, it's almost like, you got to come back again and stuff.
Oh, okay. So if you take too many days off, it's almost like then you're relaxed and you don't want to reboot from zero as opposed to just kind of ebb and flow.
That's
ebb and flow.
right, yeah.
Has the tour been as difficult on you as you thought, or has it been a little bit easier than you thought? Like, I noticed no difference on stage whatsoever, and you guys have indicated that Tony's just not the kind of guy who complains about things, who just kind of, you just...
Never.
That's an amazing quality to me. I enjoy a good complaining.
I'm going to start moaning now.
But is that something that, is that a quality you picked up from childhood? Or I'm amazed at people who can just kind of tough it out and do the work.
Well, I don't really have an option. It's either not do it or do it, and I like to do it, and it's great to be with the guys. I mean, I wouldn't want to do it going out there on my own. I wouldn't do it.
And what for you guys? Do you have a ritual before you go on stage? Because when we see you, it's just what is it that you do as performers before you go on?
Well, we've all got different things
I
we do.
warm my voice up. I do a voice vocal exercise where I go and do a bit of physical jumping around, but it's about, I don't do too much.
Is there anything you can't eat before? Like if I drink milk, like that, that fucking horrible sound, and you never want that.
No.
I think you do get into a thing of your little way of working, and I know my routine when I get there is I have a drink of vegetable juice and all that stuff.
We used to have a bottle of vodka.
And then you sort of sit down, play for a bit, and then I have a break, and then eat, and it's just, you just get into that routine of what you're going to do before the show.
And it is, you're right, I guess at one point it was a bottle of vodka, and then...
No, line of this.
Drugs,
and
yeah.
it's just wine now that I have.
You just have a little
We
bit
used
of
to have
wine?
an empty
Bottle of
line
wine
now.
before I go on, yeah, and 6 beers.
Oh, that's good. It's just something to just kind of even
But you
out.
do drink the beers through the show, so that's not so bad.
Do you drink beer?
Yeah, 6 of them before I go on.
Yeah.
Do you have something, Geezer, that you have to do before a show?
Yeah, I do a bit of yoga, and then I listen to whatever's in the top 10.
Just to
And
kind
then
of
I-
take your mind off it a little bit?
Yeah, and then I have chewing gum.
Do you?
And I have a wee every 5 minutes.
I think
me
we're all
too.
the same as that. Every time you keep going to the toilet just before you go on, it's that bit of nerves, I think.
I literally would just stand there and nothing comes out. I'm like, what's the
Oh,
fucking
yeah,
matter
yeah,
with me? I'm
Yeah,
just...
it's like a habit, you've got to
You
go.
get the feeling that you want to go, but you don't.
And you leave it right till the last minute, right, we're on in a
Yeah, it
couple of
has
minutes,
to be
I've
the
gotta
last
go.
minute, and you have to carefully tuck it away in case you get a wet stain.
Yeah, I'm beyond caring about that. I'll put half a gallon down
If
my
I have a
pants.
wet stand, I go, oh, there is something in there.
That's why he throws water on himself so you don't notice.
Well, what do you do when you're on stage, Jim? If you're going to go, you don't stop the show, you just go, I want to piss, I'll piss.
I've never had the luxury of actually pissing on stage, but I would love to because it just seems like you don't have to obsess about it before you go on. But I make the host. I'm like, you got to do 2 minutes before I go on, and there's nothing worse than when you hear.
It's all right when you want to shit though. It's even worse.
That's what are you gonna throw? You gonna throw chocolate ice cream on yourself? There's not much you can do about it. I've had times where I thought I was going to get physically sick on stage too. I was going through a thing where I'm like, I'm going to vomit. And I finally just said to myself, it became a phobia. I'm like, just shut the fuck up and throw up if you have to. And then it went away. It was this.
Oh,
in your head, yeah.
It was in my head.
Yeah, I think we all get that to a point.
I think if you're so jaded that you don't feel anything before you go on.
Oh no, you have to. I'm still like, it's like the ultimate feeling when you're going on. It's like you got to do your job properly.
And when that music starts, when you hear that siren starting, and you know, and the curtain is there, and you know that they're seeing you, is there anything that can really compare to that?
No. There's nothing in the world like it. Yeah. Sex, drugs, booze, nothing like that feeling of getting that crowd.
It's a lot different now, the green room even. Like, what do you have, and I've seen your green rooms, and it was nothing like people would think. What do you specifically like to have in the green room to snack on or before?
Definitely tea.
Teas, yeah.
You know, English.
Yeah, it used to be all alcohol and everything. Now it's
really like
green teas and whatever sort of teas.
Herbal tea.
Coconut water.
Coconut water, yeah.
You know, I can't drink it. I've tried coconut water, and it's supposed to be very good for you, but it
really
tasted like
good.
armpit.
Good
I just
food.
couldn't get used to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's fucking weird.
It does, but it I mean,
How long before a show do you not like to be bothered? Like, is there a point where the show's about
24 hours.
I have my 1 hour, warm my voice up and do my exercise and sit down and relax.
and there's nothing that you want to talk about?
I mean, if they fuck the hour up, I'll get pissed off, you know.
It does. I mean, I don't like seeing people before we go on, to be honest. But because the way we've been travelling, we've had no option because we leave straight after the gig. But we've been seeing people before, and it does throw you because you do want to get into that routine and just clear your head.
You're not getting ready for the fight, you know. Because sometimes you go on stage and everything possible that can go wrong does go wrong. And I always said there's nothing like a great gig, but at the same time there's nothing like a bad gig because it's like the other end of the spectrum, you know. It's like you get them gigs from time to time.
I mean,
And the
for us,
worst for us, for me and Tony, is when somebody comes up and gives you the extra strong handshake just before it. It's like,
and they got rings on or something.
Yeah, fucking
Yeah.
bunch of skull rings.
Fucking headbutts me in the nose for all going on.
It's a right pain. It is.
But it's amazing how some people will still, like I again, before I go on the same, don't, and my fucking accountant will literally call me and go, you know, Jim, the receipts from 20,000, like, who the fucking twat I'm going on into it? And who knows what's going on? You guys, I struggle with sleep a lot. It's a tortured thing for me, and
Ambien. I have to take Ambien every single night.
you do.
Yeah.
Now, does Ambien scares me? I took one during a sleep study, but then you get into that thing where you start making phone calls.
Yes, he knows that.
Have you gotten a few Geezer Ambien phone calls?
Yes, and emails.
Oh no.
I've called him at 9 o'clock in the morning. Oh, that's
Yeah, I want to play drums, not bass.
Ordered
8 o'clock in the
thousands of
morning.
things from Amazon. And then when it comes the next week, I go, what the hell's all this stuff?
He does.
I don't remember doing it.
Oh, he does, yeah.
What have you ordered that you looked at?
I ordered 36, those rollers that you get cat lint off,
Yes.
cat hair off. 36 of them. I just got 24 pairs of underpants yesterday that I don't remember ordering.
Oh, he's funny. He's really funny once he starts.
Do you have a point when you're tired on stage where, like, for me, it's my road manager lighting his face, and I know, okay, I have X amount of time left, I'm in the home stretch. Is there a point for you guys, like, that you go, okay, like, what moment is it for you that you go, I'm in the home stretch now, I'm okay?
The drum solo.
After the drum solo.
Yeah, the
After
drum
the
solo,
solo.
definitely. You know, you've only got 3 songs to go then.
What do you guys do during the drum solo, by the way? That's the great...
Me and Tony go, oh, is it now? It's getting longer and longer. And going, no.
He keeps announcing him.
Oh, no, Tommy Clifford.
And then he
And now, Tommy Clifford.
and then he carries on
It's
again.
the Tommy
It's
show now.
like-
Yeah, he
I
seems to
don't
enjoy a
mind.
good drum solo.
It is. It's getting longer and longer.
It's a
and longer.
2-hour show. We actually play one 5-minute song, and there's a bit.
Yeah, it'd be a drum solo.
You know, it'd be great if you guys just left him out there for as long as you possibly could, just to see
Yeah,
if he actually.
we should go home.
We should do that.
Like literally.
Lasky, we should just leave it.